I'm Michael Garvey from the Las Vegas Spa I'm the president of the Las Vegas Spa Directors Association, and I just want to say welcome and thank you for coming. And the number one rule is to relax and have fun, and that's all we got to do. I don't know how many of these events you're going to attend, but as Ella said earlier, we're a pretty casual group. So for today, we're going to talk about a little bit about what it's like to be a spa director here in town. Before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about the association. I started the Las Vegas Spa Association in 2002 as a way to network all the folks at the different spa locations here in town so they could come together and share information, meet each other, and basically network. One of the goals of the association was for me personally, was to make sure that we also try to give back to the community and understand that there's more to life than necessarily your job. And there's a lot of other people who can identify with what you do and may have similar interests. So we do a lot of charity work here in town, as well as have a good time whenever possible. And that's what we do at the association. As the association started to grow, we started to bring in some of the vendor suppliers. So with a lot of events like this at the Cosmoprof show, we differ in so much that I really try to emphasize the people-person connection. As we're going to talk about social media, and as the internet and texting and email and all those types of things become more prevalent, it was important to me to kind of hold on to that whole idea of this is who I am, this is the product I represent, or this is who I am, and this is the spa that I work for, and these are the things that affect me on a daily basis, and to be able to do that where people connect one-on-one. So hopefully, like I said today, we'll be able to do some of that. I'm going to introduce the panelists in a moment, and then after that we'll take some questions for you, hopefully finishing right up at about 4 o'clock, being respectful for their time. This is our 4th year participating with Cosmoprof, and we thank them for letting us basically come here and tell you what it's like to be a spa director here in town. I do have one celebrity guest, and that's Melinda from Terranea. She came all the way in from California because she's going to give us a little perspective on what it's like for her resort located in beautiful sunny Southern California. So some of her issues will be separate or will parallel many of the daily issues that we have here in Las Vegas as well. So at this time, I'll introduce Michelle, and she'll say,
Hi, I'm Michelle from ARIA. I'm the director of the Spa and Salon. Thank you for attending.
Good afternoon.
Stephanie, go ahead. Yeah.
My name is Stephanie Dowd. I'm director of the Spa at the Mirage. I appreciate all of you joining us and having conversation with us, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions.
Good afternoon, I'm Melinda Milner. I'm at Terranea Resort in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. And thank you to all these other spa directors letting me sit in and hopefully echoing some of the things that they're going to say, but maybe just on a smaller scale.
Good afternoon, my name is Arzu Delp. I'm the Director of Guest Experience at the JW Marriott in Las Vegas, and welcome. We're very excited to be able to answer any of your questions today.
Hi, I'm Ella Stimson. I'm the spa director for Encore and Wynn on the other side of the strip. So it's nice to be down here and see how the other half lives.
All right, thanks you guys. So real quick on Las Vegas, the challenge that these individuals face on a daily basis, as I like to tell or explain to the layperson, Las Vegas being the #2 most traveled destination in North America, top 20 in the world, people come here from all over to enjoy, have fun, and participate in all the things that Las Vegas represents. It doesn't always necessarily stay in Las Vegas because they want to have that experience here and then go back home and tell everybody back home about it. So 35 to 40 million people come here every year. They have an expectation when they check into the Wynn, the Bellagio, the Aria, the JW, unlike any other hotel anywhere in the world, because they want an experience unlike any other place they've stayed. And for the most part, gaming is involved with that. And as I go on to say, when you have an experience checking in at the Bellagio, you have a certain expectation of what it's going to be like. When you have a spa experience at the Bellagio, you're going to have a certain expectation of what that's like. And when you check in, have a spa experience, and your husband drops 100 grand on the tables, you better have a good story to tell when you go home. So what these individuals are charged with the task of doing is make sure that guest experience or that story is a pretty good one, and that guest will come back, and then their friends will come back, and so on and so on and so on. So First question, Ella, why is the market different here for the resort spas than maybe a resort spa where Melinda's at or anywhere else in the world? I just told you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. What's different here, I think, that really distinguishes is volume. And, at Encore, I have 37 treatment rooms, and at Wynn, I have 40. And so we have 100 massage therapists, almost 50 estheticians. And so the challenge for me is to make this massage factory feel like a spa experience. And that's really very difficult. And it's a wonderful experience to have all of these guests in your space and paying to be there, but to try to make it that tranquil, wonderful escape is probably one of our biggest challenges.
Michelle, you want to weigh in on that?
Las Vegas, I think it also brings a different kind of clientele base, or the type of client, because we get people from all over the country that come here, all over the world, and I think in many spas around the nation, they get typically local clientele or people who are regulars that come back. We do get regulars that come back to the facilities, to the property, because of the brand that we have. But due to the amount of people that come here, I think that makes it a lot different. And the type of clientele can be a foreign client or someone who comes from the next state over. So that's what makes it a little bit different as well.
Very good. Michelle had shared with me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you've had up 1,000 visits in one day. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So pretty busy over at Aria.
We average 450 guests per day at Aria. We have a very large facility in comparison to others, but it's needed for a 4,000-room hotel.
Arzu, you want to answer the question about how the resort spa business is a little different here in town?
Okay, well, our property, the JW Marriott, is an off-strip property. So it functions a little bit uniquely and differently than a lot of the hotel and casinos and resorts on the Strip. We are primarily a golf environment too. We are surrounded by 5 golf courses within a mile radius. And it's unique in the sense of we are attracting the Las Vegas market as well as markets who are not necessarily wanting to come to the Strip. So they have the best of both worlds in the sense that if they want to gamble, they have that option available for them. But if they wish to stay away from that casino environment, they have that option available for them as well. And that gives us a unique edge. And of course, due to that, our market segment is a little bit different as well. And we cater to people who are more so looking for the golf and spa specific activities and that experience alone.
Very good. Stephanie, what are some of the adjustments you've made in the past 2 years to be successful?
Some of the adjustments that we have made is, of course, all of us and all of you that are over spas or are part of Spa Salon is the economy. It's that horrible, evil word that we use, but it's hearing what our guests want, meeting what their needs, and definitely it's one of those situations where you're wanting the guests to feel as though they are getting the most for the money that they're spent. And so that's where we came in. We developed some packages, we did some things with social media, we did some things with Groupon, and really adjusted to what the guest needs were and continued to keep that volume up.
Very good. Melinda, you want to take adjustment question?
Sure, thank you. We're a little bit further off the Strip as well, but adjustments. I actually opened in June of 2009, and so we opened at the height of the misery, I'll say, and so it was very scary. When we opened, we said, are they going to come? And luckily, they did come. But we found out very quickly that price sensitivity was, an issue, and so we did the same thing with packages and really looking at shorter treatments. Was a great way to sort of discount without discounting. Offering the little mini treatments, so like a 30-minute massage, a mini facial. Those have been extremely popular for us. And we're continuing to use those types of strategies even now that the economy is slowly getting better. But it's a way to get people's foot in the door,
Very good. Ella, with the adjustment question and then diving into on our little cheat sheet, influential vendor partners, some of the things maybe that you've adjusted to or support you've received from a vendor to that end.
When it comes to adjusting, we had to figure out how to get the right guest in our door, and the hotel had to figure that out too. So there was a year or two where we weren't quite figuring it out, but we have been able to get in the caliber of guests that can now afford spa. And so for that reason, I don't discount anymore. I've done added value. So we do some upgrades that can be complimentary as opposed to using the discount word, because in a luxury environment, those people who can afford to be there are not attracted by the D word. And so we've been able to discount, but not really. It's an added value. So that's been working for us. And the way the vendor partners can help us with that is by having a special event that creates buzz, doing a gift with purchase, or doing something that we can give out for special events so that when we have a splash, they have something to take away.
Super. Arzu, anything special from a vendor that helped me with the transition or your market?
Very similar with Ella. It's very important to us to build those relationships with our vendors, and it's incredible the different variety of unique opportunities you can have with the vendors that you can present to the guests, from doing events on a monthly basis to doing gift with purchase, being able to work with the rooms and being able to put down, turn down service little amenities from the spa, attracting them to the spa from the guest rooms, attracting them throughout the property. A lot of times the guests they're not necessarily aware that the spa is there. And even though the spa to us is our world and it's a very big component of the hotel, a lot of guests will come to the hotel without even stopping by the spa. So we're trying to open up that door and open up that world to them by going to the pools, going to the guest rooms, going to conventions, and being able to offer little amenities and complimentary services, and that exposes the spa to them. And the next thing you know, we're opening the doors, and traffic increases dramatically. So that's, again, that relationship that we have with our vendors is very important, because they play a very big part of that and a role in that. And also with our staff in offering, doing different challenges and specials, and keeping the education, which is very, very important, making sure that they're educated and excited about the product, which in turn passes on to the guest as well.
Go ahead, Melinda. Anything special you've done in terms of a vendor-partner relationship?
One brand comes to mind, but yes, we do rely heavily on our vendors to help us. And so, for instance, with the Moroccan Oil, we were all just talking about it earlier, we've done some great partnering and having them come in and help support us with our events, whether it be in the actual spa or around the resort. So all the support we can get, that has been the name of the game. And it's great, because I think that vendors or service partners are really starting to, I think because of the economy, they're working with us more, because they realize that, we're all in this together, and it's only going to benefit them, to help us out. So.
You guys want to add stuff? You got anything to add on that end?
I think it just continuing on with what the other ladies had said, it's that education that we get for our staff from our vendors. They're almost like our cheerleaders, because they've had the challenges with the economy, they've had the challenges with our guests, and to have the vendors come in and pep them back up and get them re-educated on services, and then also be able to give them gratis, and so that they understand the product and even more, and get them excited again and re-energized for those services.
Ditto.
Very good. Well, Michelle, I'll let you have
They said it all.
three things we're looking for in a vendor partner, or describe the process in evaluating perhaps a new vendor partner.
My take.
You go ahead.
I always try. I came from Bellagio. Prior to that, I was at Treasure Island, and now I'm at Aria. And through the years, working with vendors has been at times somewhat intimidating for a spa director to be thrown so many products and so many different types of products that you have available out there. It's hard to actually choose which one works the best for your property. So I typically like to work with the vendors, give them a little bit of education on how it works with the resort spa. Stephanie and I work for MGM Mirage, and it's a little bit different than some of the spas that you may relate to, is where we have retail divisions, and a lot of the vendors, we try to educate them on the differences between professional product and retail product. some new vendors will come to us and they don't quite understand where they can place their product. We purchase the professional product, the spa directors, but the retail division and our company is the one that's responsible. They have a budget. They're the ones that are purchasing the retail items, and I personally try to collaborate with the retail division and the retail buyers. So I try to educate everybody who walks through my door and let them know this is where we stand right away, and then show me your product just to see if you even have interest, because some of the vendors, they may not even have professional product sizes, which are required of us if we're performing a treatment, or depending on what type of treatment it is. So I try to also work with the vendor and create things with the vendors. And for me, the vendor that's the most willing to work with me without, I know you all have regulations, we do as well, but somebody who's more willing to work with me and is a little bit more easygoing with the process. I think I said more than 3 things. Those are the things I'm looking for. So
That's good. That's good.
thank you.
Strong arm sales wouldn't work with Michelle. Ella, maybe three things that you could
Can I just jump into what I don't like?
Well, yeah, I know you're getting to that. I know you're getting to that.
Las Vegas is host to lots and lots of spa and beauty shows, and so we're all very busy people, and you know, we don't have a lot of time on our hands to return phone calls or emails, and typically around a show like this, we'll get hundreds of vendors saying, "I'm in Las Vegas and I want to show you this," and it's just not going to happen. It's better for me if you send me an email and then attach a press kit and then allow me to say whether or not I'm interested in a follow-up. Don't show up at my door and say, "I'm here now, I just need 5 minutes of your time," and I'm not going to give it to you, because that's not respectful of our time. So I need to make sure that there's a hole in my current program that I have that you're going to fit, and that you're of the type of product that I'm looking for. And so then if I invite you back, what I do expect is that you come prepared to not only win over me, but to win over my staff. And so I don't make a decision without bringing in the leads and having them have a conversation with those professional vendors. And so I expect you to be prepared to talk to them as well. Bring some product, show product, do a facial or do a body treatment, because we're all experiential in this market, and that's what works.
Arzu, I'm your vendor. 3 things. What are you looking for?
Well, Ella touched upon something that I very truly believe in, and that is the leads being a part of it, and the staff in general, because they are the ones working with the product lines day in and day out, and their belief in the product and that it works and their excitement in it is so crucial and absolutely imperative to the success of that product as well. So they are a very big part of the decision making and meeting with the vendors, playing with the product, possibly even with our frequent guests, having them even try some of the product and get their feedback, because ultimately they are the most important. Their feedback is going to be the most important, and testing it with our staff and our guests.
Melinda, best way to a vendor partner to get your attention, or I'm combining this with, is there a kiss of death? That's what it says here. Is there a kiss of death with a vendor?
Well, I think showing up unannounced is one of the ones we were all shaking our head
So
going.
what gets your attention?
We're extremely busy, and as much as we do love to talk and interact with people all the time, we're also faced with a lot of responsibility and tasks in meetings and et cetera. So that really puts a pressure on us. But I think for me, what I really, I guess what discourages me is when a vendor shows up or they even try and contact us about their product or service, and they don't know anything about who we are and what is our story. What is the story that my spa is trying to tell? And for instance, at Terranea, we're mostly organic, natural. There's nothing Medi Spa about it, and you would not believe how many vendors call me up and I want to sell you this gadget, gizmo, microdermabrasion, this really invasive thing, and I'm, you know, and so that's where it's like, okay, come on, like, know who we are, know what our story is, and if it really is something that's going to fit with us, then I'm going to be impressed that you already know how and why.
We like gadgets and gizmos.
Yeah, Michelle, we got you, Gizmo. No, but
I like it to
difference.
myself, but I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you know, not for the spa.
so Steph, so drive home the point. Yeah, they got to do their homework if they're
Yes.
going to call upon you. How do they get your attention? You can email Ella. You can do an attachment. What else could they do?
I think
Well, they
that-
could join the association, I guess. That'd be
Yes,
fun.
yes.
Commercial. No, go ahead.
I think to get my attention, there's been vendors that I've had relationships where I may have met at another conference, and it's been the patience that they've had, and it's that relationship that we've created over the years, and making sure that they're going to be the right fit for my spa and be the right fit for my team. And one particular company that we ended up bringing in, they created gift baskets for every single member of our team. We had 104 gift baskets sent to our spa from the vendors, so that those products were used by the vendors, their products were used by the staff, they were loving the product, and I could get the feedback and see if that was going to be the right fit, and it absolutely was.
I think also being genuine that's key. You know, if you're going in for the hard sale, it's a big turnoff, I think, for all of us. Somebody who really wants to get to know you or your spa, that's a little bit different when you build a relationship with somebody. And I actually, if I can give a vendor a hug, that means that we have a great relationship, and we'll probably be working together for the future, even at a new property.
Very good. Ella.
Can I just hop in on that?
No, yeah, go ahead.
That long-term thing. You know, we can't afford to turn lines at a heartbeat like we used to, and so really my best relationships have been years in the making, and it's been vendors who have been patient, who've been friendly, who wanted to know me better, my spa better, and 3 or 4 years down the road it pays off for them, and not every vendor can afford to do that, but at our scale that works.
Very good. Okay, I wanted to get started for all of you in terms of the placement of product or a vendor approaching you. If that product is carried at a competitor or at least another property in town, does that weigh into the decision to selecting that product? Ella, you can start again. You can go ahead.
Yes, Wynn and Encore, we're quite brand conscious, and so we're unlikely to pick something, especially for our signature line, that is going to be at a nearby competitor or at a competitor that is not at the same level as we are, and we're very unlikely to carry anything that you can find at a Dillard's or below. We're, you know, maybe one of the higher end stores like Barney's or Bergdorf, but we won't do something that's down the road. And except for a few exceptions, we're quite brand conscious.
Arzu?
Same with Ella. We are definitely conscious of the locations where the brands are kept. And again, we have an advantage at the JW Marriott because we are located off the Strip. So due to our location, there's really not a close proximity except for maybe 1 or 2 locations, and that is taken into consideration. And like she stated, if it's found in a Sephora, at Sally's Beauty Supply, which unfortunately sometimes surprises us when we do find, not necessarily that there's anything wrong with the product, but unfortunately we don't necessarily, we want our guests to come back to us to purchase it, and there's a certain caliber and a certain prestige that comes with having these items located in a spa resort.
I guess we're all concurring with that response. Yeah, sounds good. All right.
I think, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
add to that. I think also being unique, you know, not necessarily the highest high-end of brand. Ella probably carries all of that. But a brand that you've never heard of, I think, is something that can bring difference to your facilities. And when you haven't heard of something and it works and people are happy with the results, then it's something for them to go to. And we want to bring people through the doors, so.
Very good. All right, we're going to transition to trends, the last part of our prepared statements. The subject matter is trends you've noticed in the past year when it comes to treatments, supporting products, price point, et cetera, in terms of maybe what you were doing, what you're doing now, and where you see it going. We'll start right back with you, Michelle. Trends.
Trend us. Everybody wants Botox. Everybody wants to look beautiful in an instant. So our spa in particular, we do like the gizmos and gadgets because our clientele asks for it. We have a range of 30, 40, 50-something crowd at ARIA, and those are the people that want to remain youthful for the rest of their life. So any type of product or filler or whatever it may be that makes them look young and beautiful and they feel good about themselves, that's where I see the trend is going for our facility.
I think for the trends, for the Mirage, I think it comes back to customer service, and it's the experience that they had when they were at our spa. It's the experience that they wanted to come home and talk about. And we, of course, we have the machines and the gizmos and the gadgets with our services, but it's the experience that they can talk about. Oh my gosh, I went to the spa at the Mirage and they took such good care of me and paid special attention to me, and it's those experiences that they talk about, and I think that's the trend that I'm seeing from our guests. And it's something that they want to go home and they want to talk about their experience, but they want to know that when they come back, they're going to have that same experience again.
Well, I love the idea of trends, and our PR team is always asking for what's the latest, what's the hottest, and so you can imagine me, I don't like the gizmos and gadgets, so we don't do trends. I'm kidding, but we do. But I would say that the shorter treatments, really trying to, that's been our trend lately, is just trying to get people in the door and keep the momentum going of having a brand new spa, and that's been our trend. The trend is how, what's the entry level price point that I can get into the spa, and so it's been that's been our trend. I would say in the last year, really, it's worked well.
My turn. Okay. For us, it's a little bit different. We're actually starting to see a trend towards spa being more of about health and wellness. And we're starting to be very conscious about the products that we use, the ingredients that are listed in the products, and educating our guests about those ingredients and what they truly are, what they mean, and what type of an effect they have on them. Everybody's looking for something effective that works, and they do want something that they're going to see results, and everybody wants instant results. Now, whether or not that's realistic, sometimes you can have products that have those instant results, but to what consequence? So our goal is really to educate the guests, and ultimately they have a choice to make and they can decide which direction they want to go, but we just want to help them make an educated decision. So our trend is really going towards health and wellness and education.
I think it's really cool how different we all are. It's really kind of exciting. And one of the things I've seen is in the last 3 or 4 years, spa is not just for the rich anymore. You've got Massage Envy and their types of spas all over the place. And that's a wonderful thing for humanity as far as I'm concerned. More massage would solve a lot of problems in this world. But the pressure on us is, well, how can you charge $160 for something that I can get at Massage Envy for a lot less? And so at our demographic, we actually have the opposite of what's happening at Terranea. It's longer treatments. So my 80-minute treatments and my 2-hour treatments, my 2.5-hour forehand treatments are the ones that are growing. And because they don't want what they can get with their masseuse that comes to their house every week. They want something that's completely different that will blow them away. And so that's given us a creative license that's really a lot of fun. Certainly we have the 50-minute deep tissue, like everyone else does, but our trend has been, what is more, more, more? How can I differentiate myself from just that good massage down the street?
Awesome.
May I add to on the salon side of things? I don't know if anybody's here for salon, but the trends in the salon are everything that's out in the magazines. So feathers, extension pieces, all of the fun stuff that you could put in your hair, makeup, crystals, all of that stuff. So anything, and that's based on fashion and what we see in the public eye, and that's what people want to look like. So, and they want their hair like that. That's the common trend for salons.
Yeah, keeping up with what you see in People magazines, what you see in us, and what you see the celebrities are doing, we have to stay 2 steps ahead and make sure that all of our stylists know what's going on and what are the trends and what are they going to see and what's going to be on the red carpet this week and what's going to be on the red carpet next week, and staying ahead of all of that.
Very
Agreed.
good. Anybody else?
Well, you got to be careful too, because some of the latest trends ended up being harmful. And I won't call those out, but you've got to be, you want to be ahead, but you've got to make sure that it's safe. And so a lot of us in the business got burned a year or 2 ago. So it's really hard to find that balance that Stephanie's talking about, to stay ahead of the trends, but not be reactive to it, and to make sure that at first you're doing no harm to your guests.
Very good. And great segue from trends to long-term success. In terms of what you're doing and what you're seeing, and where we were last year, where we are here today, and where we're going to be tomorrow, what types of things are we doing marketing-wise or tying in with our individual properties and what's going on in that hotel or casino in terms of promotion, driving traffic to the resorts and driving traffic to the spa? Michelle.
This year, we've been really pushing hotel market with our hotel marketing team, where we're not just focusing on spa discounts or added value treatments, but an all-encompassing get the guest into the hotel type of discounted package, get them a good room rate, give them an offering and added value while they're here, and give them an experience while they are here. And actually those have been quite successful, because an email blast will go out to a certain demographic, and those people do have interest in coming to the facilities, and when they see something that is lowered, the rate's lowered, especially the room rate, that brings them to the hotel, and then it brings them to all of the other outlets within the hotel, whether it be fine dining or the spa or salon, the show, etc. So that's something we've been really pushing, and it's actually been working out really well.
Steph?
And I think for us, it's been our social media. We all have, as far as our properties have a marketing team, we have a team that is our social media team. They handle our Facebook, our Twitter, our Whirl, our Foursquare, our app, and it's keeping up on those and making sure that we're reaching out to our guests. A big one for us is Yelp.com. And so using Yelp and hearing what our guests are saying and getting that feedback and responding back to those guests, I think is what's moving us forward, and what's going to be the success for our future, is keeping up on the social media.
Great. What was the question?
Trends, staying awake during the hour. No, I'm kidding. We're talking about trends, maybe
I'm
some
kidding.
marketing things. I know you do creative things there.
I was just ready
No.
to say that. No, for us, because even though I have talked a little bit about discounting or that entry-level price point a lot in this panel, the other thing, with our hotel trying to, again, establish its clientele from the very beginning, we have entered the market with a little bit of a lower hotel room rate, so as compared to some of our major competitors. And so sometimes you have this this factor where you've got hotel guests coming in paying maybe a couple $100, $200 to $300 for a room night, and then they're coming to the spa, and my basic 60-minute treatment is $165. So that has been an interesting sort of comparison. So if someone's paying almost the same amount for 1 hour in my spa versus what they're paying for their overnight stay, what we've really tried to do is capitalize on the whole daycation, selling the spa as an entire day experience. So it's not just coming and doing the 1 hour treatment and going home, as per Massage Envy or something like that, but really trying to sell it as this whole experience, that you're going to come and you're going to take a yoga class, you're going to maybe run the trails. We have 2 miles of trails all around the property. It's 102 acres. You can have lunch in the spa cafe, you're going to have a treatment, and then so we sell it as this whole day, and that's been helpful for us, and I think is starting to kind of, we're seeing some increase in business from the local guests coming in.
Arzu?
Very similar to Stephanie, and we feel that the social media is really an amazing opportunity to market to our guests. It's amazing in the sense that we might be having a slow day, So we can use Facebook or Twitter and just last minute say that we're going to have a 20% discount for the rest of the day or whatever it may be, or a complimentary gift with a service. And it's incredible how many people you can reach in just a moment's notice, and your day can completely take a 180-degree turn at that moment. So it's exciting with just Facebook, Twitter, email blasts, whatever it may be, and taking advantage of that, and it's an amazing opportunity keeping up with that trend.
Very good. Ella, you're going to answer that question and then segue right into addressing the Asian and European products that might have appealed to your guests and how important that might be, obviously focusing on some of the companies that are here at the show. So let's talk a little bit about media and then a little about the international market.
Okay. You know, Wynn and Encore has done the kind of opposite, where we're inching up our room rate, and we're having fewer people in the hotel paying more money. And what's beautiful about that is you have fewer people in your facility that you have to clean up after, but they're spending more money. And so when you're a 5-star a property like we are, you're able to, you know, remember my initial challenge was, how do I make that peaceful environment? Well, I don't have as many people in there, but I'm making more money. And so I think fundamental to all of this is that's not going to work down the street, but I'm listening to the kind of guests that work in my environment, and I'm responding to that. For instance, we have a Garth Brooks package. Garth Brooks tickets are very expensive, and there's a package where you can stay and you get $500 to spend in the spa. That's very effective for me. It's certainly not something that would work at a lot of other places, but because we have Garth Brooks and we have the kind of guests who could spend that kind of money, something that's twinned into a package like that and makes spa, oh, well, of course I'm going to spa, works really well for us. And so I'm trying to remember what's next.
The other part was just tying in the... Sorry.
That's all right. What was it?
Just tying in, we were talking about this show in particular.
Oh yeah,
Putting
Asian
and European products as appeal to that particular market or our domestic market here. How attractive is it to get a product from outside North America into your spa?
I'm going to go back to my original answer, is to know your guest. And at Wynn and Encore, we have a strong Asian guest and a strong Middle Eastern guest. Interestingly enough, Asians don't want Asian products, they want American products. And so a lot of Americans want trendy things that are from Europe. And so you need to have a good mix, I think, if you can afford to have some choice in that matter. Certainly, overseas can be challenges with customs and with you know, MSDS sheets and some of the other things that we need to operate here. But if you have a distributor here or you already feel comfortable doing business with an American firm, we're not going to not do business with you because you're not American. If you fit the niche that we're looking for, then we're going to do business with you.
Arzu, you have some interesting products over there?
She said everything that I needed to say.
Okay,
You know?
okay, yeah, it's kind of a, yeah, I understand. All right, how's this? Anybody want to add to that?
As far as for us, we use a machine, it's called the Casey machine, and we get a lot of European guests, and they're excited when they see something that they're familiar with, they know the machine, and so that has made them, made that machine popular, made those services popular with our European guests because it's something that they recognize from home, something they can go back and talk about, oh my gosh, I went to this spa in Las Vegas and they had the Casey, and so they talk about the service and the experience they had here in the United States in comparison to the services that they may have had in Europe.
We have a lot of Asian clientele at Aria. I don't necessarily stock the spa or the salon with European or Asian product, but what we try to do is sort of cater that to the clientele by creating treatments that they're familiar with. A lot of Asian treatments that they get in their hometown or wherever they're from that they're familiar with, and that's what they're drawn to. So.
Very good. Anything else?
And like Ella stated, studying your market, knowing your guest and what their expectations are, knowing the culture that they come from, because certain things may be acceptable, certain things may not be acceptable, and really knowing that, because what seems normal to us in the United States might not be normal to somebody who comes from an Asian market.
Okay. Do you have a safe story you could tell or an example of that?
Well, I can say Europeans are very their spas and the way they function are a little bit different. They feel very comfortable with their bodies, and their laws are a little bit different. So many of our European guests will disrobe before the technician has the ability to even leave the room.
Okay.
And to them, that's completely normal. It's a lot of times they'll even lay on the table without having any sheets on them. And so it's just, we don't want to have we don't want to overreact to that situation,
right.
and knowing exactly what type of background and culture they come from, so we react accordingly, and we just explain to them that here, this is how we do it, and covering up, unfortunately, is not an option. You have to cover up.
Very good. That's one of the safest spa director stories I've heard.